Welcome back, everybody. This is the In My Grow Show, the podcast dedicated to taking the mystery out of cannabis. Once again, I'm Alex. Well, here it is, folks. The first week of summer, 2018. Can you believe it? And the strain of this week is Tractor Beam. Now, Tractor Beam is a cross of Dark Star and Sour Diesel. Now, the internet says it's a sativa-leaning hybrid. Okay, possibly. But for me, towards the end, man, it really let me down. Like, it really made me sleepy towards the end. I liked the high. It was a great high. But then it made me really sleepy. Not really a fan of that. So I really don't like to use this in the middle of the day. It's more like towards the end of the day when I'm going to hang out. But not for when I need to stay busy. Alright, so I got a couple of local announcements. Don't forget, Saturday, June 30th, 2018, from 10 to 1, there's a cannabis clinic, beginner's guide to the whole plant. And that is going to be at the Ojai Valley Women's Club, 441 East Ojai Avenue in Ojai, California. General admission is $10, students and seniors is $5. This is presented by Sespe Creek Collective. Let's see a couple of things that they're going to talk about. They're going to talk about the endocannabinoid system. There will also be strategies for choosing products. Learn about the benefits of vaping. If you're new to cannabis, if you're curious about cannabis, I highly recommend to go to this event. Because it'll introduce you to cannabis, to all the different ways to use cannabis. You can ask questions there from actual people instead of trying to find answers on the internet. And this way, when you walk into your first dispensary, you're a little more confident. You're not so shy. You know, you kind of know what's going on and what will and will not work for you. So, once again, if you're in town and you're able to, go check it out. Take a friend. That is Beginner's Guide to the Whole Plant, Saturday, June 30th. Go to Sespe, that is SESPE.org for more information. You can get your information there about it. Now, since we're talking about Ojai, it's the town I live in. Don't forget, June 26th, that's a Tuesday at 7 p.m., there's a city council meeting. Alright, in that city council meeting, they're going to talk about whether they're going to allow adult use of cannabis in the city limits in town. If you're a cannabis patient, if you use cannabis to celebrate or to relax, come to the city council meeting. You don't have to speak. At the very least, come out and be counted as a cannabis supporter. Let's make it known that because we enjoy cannabis, even on a recreational level, that doesn't make us bad people. Let's give a little bit back to this plant that has given us so much. Alright, cannabis needs our help. Like I said, you don't have to speak. You can stand up and be counted as a cannabis supporter. Okay, there's been at least 4 people in the last week to ask me when Ojai is going to allow adult use. I'm speaking to all 4 of you people. You know who you are. Here's your chance to come out and be counted. Here's your chance to make a difference. Okay, the Anti-Cannabis League, whoever they are, I'm sure they're going to be out there in force, trying to make sure that we don't get adult use in Ojai. Okay, and they're counting on your fear. They're counting on you to self-censor yourself and not show up so they can get their way. Don't let them do that. Don't let them win. Let's get out there. Let's be counted. All right. Another event I want to talk about that's happening locally, Sunday, July 8th from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. is the educational gathering, Discover the Benefits of CBD and Cannabis. They're going to have speakers there, vendors, there'll be food there. One of the things that they'll be talking about is the entourage effect. And simply that's just how all the cannabinoids work together to help us. And I say simply because it's a lot more detailed than that. But another thing that they're going to talk about is the differences between CBD that's isolated from hemp and whole plant CBD that's taken from the drug variety of cannabis. Now, I'm really interested in that. I know a little bit about the differences and how to explain it to people, but I'm going to show up there. Hopefully I can ask questions to a doctor so I can get some straight answers, because I can go online and look for a lot of this information, but then I also have to figure out, is this information part of somebody's marketing, or is this like an independent study? So at least this way I'll be able to, talk to a doctor, or at least some kind of authority, and come to my own conclusion about how it works, or about how I feel about it. So once again, that is the educational gathering, Discover the Benefits of CBD and Cannabis. It is Sunday, June 8th from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. It's going to be at 227 East Arriaga Street, if you speak Spanish, in Santa Barbara. You can find tickets at everbright.com or at the door. You can find them on Instagram at SB_cannabiseducation or at cannabiseducationsb@gmail.com. Either one of those will work. I'll also link to them on the post for this episode on my Instagram page, so you can hopefully find them there. Or just reach out to me. You can find me on Instagram. That's at InMyGrow, or email me at inmygrow@gmail.com. But this is one event I will be showing up to, because like I said, I'm really interested in that conversation about the differences between hemp CBD and whole plant CBD from the drug form of cannabis. Brothers and sisters, I'm going to take a short break. I need to get something to drink. I'm running out of saliva over here. Did I go too far on the saliva part? Anyways, hang tight. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for letting me take that break. Now let's move forward with the report from the cannabis front line. All right. So let's see. Federally, U.S. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell succeeded in inserting hemp legalization language into a wide-ranging farm bill. Must pass legislation that is approved by Congress every 5 years. The bill was then approved by the U.S. Senate Agricultural, Nutrition, and Forestry Committee. Well, all right, Mitch McConnell. Next, the U.S. Senate Appropriations Committee, for the first time ever, included protections for states' medical marijuana law in base Justice Department funding legislation. On the other hand, the U.S. House Appropriations Committee rejected an amendment to protect banks that work with marijuana businesses from being punished by federal authorities. That's fucked up. Why? And just let them do business. Fucking small-minded people out there. Alright, moving on. In Delaware, expungement, Senate Bill 197 seeks to permit those convicted of past marijuana possession convictions to seek expungement. The measure would allow individuals to file a petition that the courts requesting the expungement of any past marijuana possession violations that are no longer defined as a crime under state. Update. SB 197 was unanimously passed by the Senate on June 12th. That's awesome for Delaware, because prohibition laws are based on lies and fear, and people with cannabis convictions, if they're nonviolent, should be expunged. Next, back here in California, let's see, Student Protection, Senate Bill 1127 will help students with severe medical disabilities attend school by allowing a parent or guardian to come on campus to administer medical cannabis to them in non-smoking and non-vaping forms. The bill was approved by the Senate last month. Update SB 1127 was heard on June 13th in the Assembly Education Committee, and then approved by the committee. The bill will be heard by the Judiciary Committee on July 4th. What? They're not hearing it on July 4th? Lies. Next, in banking, Senate Bill 930 seeks to assist financial institutions in safely conducting transactions with licensed cannabis businesses. The bill was approved by the Senate last month. Update: the Assembly's Business and Professions Committee is holding a hearing on SB 930 on June 26th at 9 a.m. That's going to be interesting how that works out, since the government said it's not going to allow bank businesses. But you know what? Somebody in California's got to come up with some kind of like independent California bank for cannabis. There's got to be a way. Let's figure it out. Back it up by gold. Back it up by Bitcoin. Nah, maybe not by Bitcoin. All right. Anyways, let's figure it out. A lot of smart people out there. Let's work on it. And that is it for the updates from the Cannabis front line. And I got that information off of the NORML website. That is normal.org. Go over there, get informed, become a member. And speaking of NORML, round of applause for NORML. They've been fighting the fight for cannabis legalization for a long time. There are a lot of great cannabis warriors over there. Thank you, NORML, for what you do. All right. Moving forward now. Next, I want to talk a little bit about light toxicity. Alright, now when I say light toxicity, I'm not talking about light burn. I consider light burn when plants grow right up against the light and they get nice and crispy and just hot and they burn. And possibly catch on fire if they're right up against the light. But that's what I consider light burn. Light toxicity is when indoor plants get too much light. That's an actual thing that happens. Just like anything else, too much of a good thing is bad for you. Light is no different for plants. Okay? You can give your plant too much light. Light toxicity will either happen because people just fill a room with a bunch of light that their plants can't use. It's just too much. Or the lights are just hanging too close to the plant. Not close enough to like burn them crispy, but close enough to make them look sick. So if you're indoors, and this only happens indoors, it's not going to happen outdoors unless your plant was in the shade and you suddenly moved it into the light. It may show signs then, but that's really the only time I've ever seen it outdoors. But indoors, it's going to look a lot like a nitrogen deficiency. We have to remember that nitrogen is a mobile element. If we have a nitrogen deficiency, it's going to start at the older, lower leaves. A light toxicity problem, that's going to affect the area of the plant just underneath that light. It's not going to be at the bottom, it's going to be right underneath that light. The leaves are going to look yellow, the veins are going to look green, the leaves are going to droop. Another difference between light toxicity and nitrogen deficiency is that when your plant needs nitrogen, the leaves are going to come off real easy. You're going to be able to pull those leaves off really easy, or they'll fall off on their own. When you have a light toxicity, that's not going to happen. Those leaves they're hanging on there pretty good. You're going to have to, put a little bit of effort into it. Another thing that's going to happen with the light toxicity in flower is that the buds are going to turn white, and it's going to really just make your resin production less. It's really going to diminish that oil production. Now, a couple of ways to fix this. You can raise your lights. If you can't raise your lights, think about maybe taking some of the lights out. If you have bulbs or whatever you're using, maybe you can you need to take one out, make it less. If that's not an option, you're going to have to try some low stress training, bending the plant downward to give you a little more room from the canopy to the light. But like I was talking about, too much light is going to affect your yield, so you're going to want to control that. And recognize that it's not a nitrogen deficiency, so that you're not also feeding your plant a bunch of nitrogen thinking that, that's going to fix it. And two things is going to happen. One, it's not going to fix it. Two, you're going to overload your plant with nitrogen. It's going to lock a whole lot of other things out and cause a whole other set of problems. So just remember, Too much light can hurt your plant. And that's all the notes I have on light toxicity, brothers and sisters. Now, I was going to talk about figuring out the dosage when making edibles, but I think I'm going to save that for next week and just talk about how I make edibles. Or at least how I make butter to make edibles. Well, mi gente, thank you for joining me. You can find me on Instagram at InMyGrow, or you can email me at inmygrow@gmail.com. You can also go over to inmygrow.com for more information about cannabis. Now, brothers and sisters, once again, don't forget, if you're able to support the show financially, if this show has brought you a little education, a little entertainment, help me out, throw a couple of bucks my way. That support allows me to pay for my hosting fees, pay for equipment, even make some videos. You can go to patreon.com, search for the In My Grow Show, and you can donate $1, $2, $100, whatever you feel comfortable with. Every donation is appreciated. Now, if you can't support the show financially, don't worry about it. It's not a problem. But here's how you can help. Tell 3 other people about the show. That's it. Real simple, real easy. Just 3 other people. 1, 2, 3. Like I said, real simple. Well, mis amigos, my friends, that's it. I'm gonna get on out of here. Everybody be cool, and remember to always grow, learn, and teach.
It's just a little love that we want. It's just a little love that we need to keep us alright, to keep us together. Oh yeah, drum up beers. So many people are dying to get to the top. So many people are crashing to reach to the top. So many people are dying to get to the top. So many people just want to reach to the top. Listen, cannot race with the clock. Oh no, 'cause you know it's never stop. Alright, drum and bass, no take it easy. Alright, I take it slow. Oh yes, I take it easy. Alright, I take it slow. Oh yes. Just a little love that we want. Just a little love that we need. Just a little love that we want. Hey, just a little love that we need to keep us alright, to keep us together. Oh yeah, keep us together. Alright, keep us alright. Oh yeah, hey, just a little love that we want. Just a little love that we need. Just a little love that we want. Just a little love that we need to keep us alright, to keep us together, to keep us together, to keep us together, alright, to keep us together, alright, keep us forever. Oh yeah, take it down together, alright, to keep us together, alright. Just a little love that we want. Just a little love that we need. Just a little bit of love. Just a little love that we want. Keep us alright. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Roots rock reggae in the house tonight.